So since we're on the topic of choosing according to your greatest desire, I'd like to address a very common argument against that, and that is that free will be phrased as this idea and ability to do or choose amongst competing desires.
All of these competing desires, influences, past character decisions and character development issues, all of these things are factors, right? The free creature decides which of the desires he's going to act to fulfill. In other words, the agent is the determiner, the desire is not the determiner.
And the reason that this particular definition sounds so good to people and resonates with people is it is what it feels like is going on when we make decisions. So we've got 101 different desires and they're all competing, but at the end of the day, our free will comes along and makes a choice and chooses amongst those desires. Sounds wonderful. The problem is that when you dissect it and compare it to what's actually going on in reality, you see a number of problems here, and what is actually going on is a bit of sleight of hand in terms of the definition. So first and foremost, what's going on is you're reversing the logical order of what is actually happening. Remember, why did you choose something? Because you wanted to, not the other way around. You didn't choose what you wanted. So to say that you're choosing amongst competing desires places the choice before desires. It reverses the logical order of reality, right? And it is never, in fact, an answer that you would give. You always say, I wanted to do something, right? The want comes before the doing. The want comes before the choosing. And so to introduce a second layer of choice is this sleight of hand that I'm talking about. And remember, it's necessary of the free will position to do this because they cannot admit that something other than your choice was determinative, right? And this commits the circular infinite regress logical fallacy that I mentioned earlier, where why did you choose something? Because you wanted to. And why did you want to? Because you chose to want to. And then if I ask why you chose to want to, you're going to say because you wanted to choose to want to, and then you chose to want to choose to want to. And you just keep backing up the choice, inserting more and more ideas of choice there so that you can keep free will in control. The problem is it's illogical, and it does not reflect reality. When you hit that why did you want to question, you need to be pointing to other things. You can't just circle back to because you chose to. That doesn't work. And so that's why this particular definition sounds great, but it's sleight of hand. Now, the reason that this definition sounds great is because it is pretending to take into account all these other things that I've mentioned so far. Past experience, current state of mind, current mood, knowledge involved, all these other factors, and in this case, particular desires. It's pretending to acknowledge the reality of those things, but at the end of the day, when you come along and say, but your free will is still what's determinative, and that those things are not determinative, you're making those things completely meaningless and irrelevant. So you're pretending to include them in your viewpoint, but you're at the end of the day declaring them completely meaningless, right? What's the point of mentioning a competition or a battle of desires? What's the point of ranking desires from greatest to least if at the end of the day your will is going to be the determiner of which is greatest? And this is the problem, is this once again reversing the order. Our desires determine our will, not the other way around. And when you declare these things not determinative, at the end of the day you're making them irrelevant. And you know that you have to do this when you're talking about free will, because if you admit that desires or any other factor I've mentioned are determinative of your choice, then you lose the debate. Free will is disproven. Free will is refuted.